What's up, everybody? It's Make It Make Sense. I'm kind of dumbfounded. I'm in awe. Like the video as the intro plays, we got a lot to get into, and I'm opening panel. I'm gonna do an open panel, so anybody like the video as the intro plays, we got a lot to get into.
Make it make sense to me intellectually.
Make it make sense. You know what was up.
Like my body.
Big Mims. Surfer. Make it make sense. Tell me how you squeeze it. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things that you say. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things in your dreams. Hey, let me work out all the things in between. Make it make sense. Tell me how you squeeze it. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things that you say. Make it make sense. Tell me about the things in your dreams. Hey, let me work out all the things in between. Make it make sense.
I told him I don't want no chicken. I don't want no chicken. I need my money. You just broke my TV. I need my 400. I don't want no chicken.
Try to apologize for you and stuff like that, but now you piss.
Man, you got all the bumps on your face. You don't hit me with no chicken. I'm from Mississippi. I'm from Quick Atlanta.
Shut up! That is so stupid.
Assault to Nathan. I had to go to the hospital. He hit me with the chicken. I had to go to the hospital because you know I don't got no neck. I only got head and shoulder. So I had to go check on my neck too.
I ain't never heard of no doctor that do that. I cannot.
Very rarely can I say I am completely at a loss for words. You guys know that, and like election stuff gives me, it plays on my anxiety. It's through the roof right now. And that's me being as honest as I can be. I feel like we're about to be in a tailspin, but let me let you guys see exactly what's going on. It says President Joe Biden drops out of 2024 presidential race. Biden, after a 5-decade career, faced a reckoning over his age and ability to defeat Trump. He endorsed Vice President Kamala Harris as his party faces a historic effort to replace him. President Joe Biden announced Sunday that he will end his presidential re-election campaign, bringing an abrupt, humbling conclusion to his half-century-long political career and scrambling the race for the White House just 4 months before Election Day. Biden, 81, could not reverse growing sentiment within his party that he was too frail to serve and destined to lose to Donald Trump in November. He backed Vice President Kamala Harris to replace him as the Democratic nominee. This is his actual statement. If you're just coming in, definitely like the video. It says, over the past 3.5 years, we have made great progress as a nation. Today, America has the strongest economy in the world. We've made historic investments in rebuilding our nation, in lowering prescription drug costs for seniors, and in expanding affordable health care to a record number of Americans. We've provided critically needed care to 1 million veterans exposed to toxic substances, passed the first gun safety law in 30 years, appointed the first African-American woman to the Supreme Court, and passed the most significant climate legislation in the history of the world. America has never been better positioned to lead than we are today. I know none of this could have been done without you, the American people. Together, we overcame a once-in-a-century pandemic and the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression. We've protected and preserved our democracy, and we've revitalized and strengthened our alliances around the world. It has been the greatest honor of my life to serve as your president. And while it has been my intention to seek re-election, I believe it's in the best interest of my party and the country for me to stand down and to focus solely on fulfilling my duties as president for the remainder of my term. I will speak to the nation later this week in more detail about my decision. For now, let me express my deepest gratitude to all who have worked so hard to see me reelected. I want to thank Vice President Kamala Harris for being an extraordinary partner in all this work. And let me express my heartfelt appreciation to the American people for the faith and trust you have placed in me. I believe today what I always have, that there is nothing America can't do. When we do it together, we just remember we are the United States. Again, y'all, I'm at a loss. I do know that, if you watched the debate, it was shaky. Some people believe that this opens the pathway to a new, younger, fresh pick. We heard rumblings of Nancy Pelosi and Obama behind the scenes expressing that he might need to drop out. I just did not see it coming. I honestly did not see it coming. The election is so divisive, and everybody is so staunchly a supporter of only who they support. That's what makes me nervous. I go back and forth with wanting to do a story time about my personal experience, but I don't know. I'm telling you, my anxiety right now is literally through the roof. Let's kind of look at what's going on.
Handling the migrant crisis as well, Mary.
Yeah, and we saw that last week, right? Republicans really, in May,
ticking on Biden's candidacy. Can he survive the mounting pressure? This morning, reaction from independent Senator Joe Manchin and Biden ally Congressman Ro Khanna. Trump's moment.
I proudly accept your nomination for President of the United States.
The former president accepts his third Republican presidential nomination with an emotional speech days after an attempt on his life.
I'm not supposed to be here tonight. Not supposed to be here.
But quickly returning to familiar attacks back on the campaign trail.
The Democrat Party is not the party of democracy. They're really the enemies of democracy.
So can Trump attract the independent voters he needs? We'll ask Speaker of the House Mike Johnson. Terry Moran talks to swing state voters, plus analysis.
We're making the case to Biden, making it through Schumer, in some cases making it directly, that if Biden stayed in the race, not only would he lose to Donald Trump, but he would hurt Senate candidates in competitive races. These senators did not want to publicly pressure Biden. They wanted him to make the decision for himself. But if he didn't make this decision soon, they were prepared to go public with their calls. So this is, at the root of all of this, is a concern that Biden had become so damaged following that debate some 3 weeks ago that he was going to lose to Donald Trump, which for Democrats is an extraordinary, would be an extraordinary failure. But more than that, that Republicans would win up and down the ballot. So you would have Donald Trump winning and potentially Republicans winning back the Senate and expanding their majority in the House. That's why you saw so much pressure. But the pressure was extraordinary. It was the Democratic leader in the House, Hakeem Jeffries. It was the Democratic leader in the Senate, Chuck Schumer, and it was perhaps the conscience of the party, maybe the most influential member of Congress who's not in leadership, Nancy Pelosi, all making the case privately, directly to Biden, that this was the only viable decision for him to make.
Jonathan Karl, stay with us as we continue to following these breaking news developments. I want to go right now to our chief White House correspondent, Mary Bruce, who is joining us on the phone. Mary, 40 Democrats as of today were calling on the president to step aside. You have made this point over and over again. This was the president's decision alone to make, Mary.
It absolutely was. And look, he was under tremendous pressure, and it is clear that that pressure ultimately was just too much for him to bear. We have seen over the last 3 weeks since that disastrous debate performance a really remarkable evolution in this public really, hemming and hawing over whether or not he could stay in this race. The president initially adamant that this was just a one-off, just a bad night, that debate, and that he could convince the American people that he could still do this, that he was still up to the task of taking on Donald Trump and governing for another 4 years. He went out on the campaign trail hard. As you know, he was out there crisscrossing the country, doing those unscripted events that so many of his doubters were demanding. He did interviews. He did that big press conference. He did huge rallies trying to show his own party that he could still handle this. But it simply wasn't enough. And the pressure just continued to grow. It started off as that sort of trickle that became a steady stream as we saw more and more House members coming out. Then we, as you well know, we saw, the first senator coming out. Now we have several senators coming out, that number growing. But ultimately it was leadership, I think, that really likely tipped the scale here. The fact that you had Hakeem Jeffries, Chuck Schumer, the top Democrat in the House and the Senate, coming to him and explaining that if he stayed at the top of this ticket, he was going to drag down Democrats. And then, of course, Nancy Pelosi, the powerful former Speaker of the House, someone who does not do anything without great intention and purpose, making that argument as well. The president, we know, I keep thinking about this, Rachel, he has been spending this weekend sick with COVID, trying to recover at home, but we also know that he has been taking that time to listen, to hear out these concerns, to look over the polling. This is a president who even, on the daily decisions that he has to make as president, wants all the information. We know this.
I'm still in awe. If you are just coming in, yes, President Joe Biden officially announced he will not be seeking re-election. Tanas Jim says, happy Sunday, Mims and everyone. Please hit the like button. And this news is a lot. Absolutely. Thank you for that. Thanks for being a member for 16 months. Beatrice, can you help us petition Michelle to vice for vice? I think, if I'm not mistaken, Michelle Obama said she would never run, and technically Obama can't run either unless he was somebody's vice presidential pick. I don't think there's a rule. He can't run. He can't seek re-election as the president. I'm at a loss, y'all. Very rarely am I at a loss. I did watch the debate, and I can understand, I don't know, because he's been running the country as is. I'm just tired. Rosie. Hey, Rosie says, this morning I put a video of Betty White at 82 and she was sharper than him at his age. Oh, damn, Rosie. Mickey says, the question now is his fitness to finish out his term in the last 6 months. Harris can't carry the top of the ticket. Need a white male to run. I don't know that they need a white man to run. I had a conversation with somebody and they were like, I won't vote for a woman, black, white, whatever color. And I was like, wow, we're still in a space where people don't see women as the leader of America. And that threw me for a loop. People do not see a woman as a leader of America. And I'm like, how does that even happen in present day? Oh, I see people are saying I wouldn't vote for a woman either. Okay. So as you know, I gave everybody a chance to talk. So I'm going to do an open panel. I'm going to open the floor. First, I would like to hear specifically from the Democratic Party, since this impacts Democrats the most right now. How do you feel? Are you nervous? Are you okay? Are you glad? Does that open the pathway for somebody younger or who has a fresh perspective? Let me know. But as always, I try to be fair. And even to, I got a lot of flack for this. I'm a person who can agree to disagree. I may not agree with what you're saying, but, you know, I understand other people have different ways of viewing things. So for right now, I want to open the floor to Democrats so they can talk about how they feel, since this is definitely impacting their party. So I have dropped the link. And again, because it's an open panel, we're not gonna do like, let's not filibuster, but you are welcome to come state how you feel. You know, some people might be optimistic about this. For me, I do feel like I need to share my personal story. So maybe I'll do a story time at some point this week. I had a run-in with the Proud Boys. I just didn't really want to do that story time, but I did have a run-in with the Proud Boys. CL, welcome.
Huh?
Hi, Corey. Well, CL was up, but it turned into Corey. So what's up, Corey?
Child,
How are you feeling?
Your nephew is going off right now. He done been for a walk. He done hollered at the new dog. Child, I don't know what to do. He think God done stopped listening to his prayers. He knows, and he has the same fears as most of us does, and I do, that they're not going to give a woman of color, a black woman in particular, a chance. Heck, she's been running the country anyway. Hello. If what they say is true.
Mm-hmm. So are you optimistic? Are you nervous?
No, I'm nervous. I'm nervous as heck because I'm a woman of a certain age and I've been through the remnants of Jim Crow, and I was born in the early 70s, just right after the Civil Rights Bill, and our civil rights aren't permanent. They vote on them every so often.
Mm-hmm.
And he's already, and the orange dude and already told you he gonna be a dictator. And the GOP wants that. That's what they want. That's what Project 2025 is about. They've already rolled back our rights as women. I don't need nobody to tell me what to do with my uterus. I don't. I really don't. And they want us barefoot and pregnant and back in the kitchen.
Can you think of somebody, now that Biden is out, somebody that you would vote for?
I would vote for Kamala. I will vote for Kamala. I don't know who she could put up as her as her VP. I don't know. Michelle already told y'all she ain't getting into politics. And she done said already her children ain't getting into politics.
Okay. So who would you vote for as a VP?
As her VP, maybe. I would love to see a 2-woman ticket. Her and Jasmine Crockett. I think Jasmine, for all of her little saucy one-liners, Jasmine has a great legal mind as a actual attorney. I think people should look past her snappy one-liners, but Jasmine knows what she's doing. I think that would be a powerful ticket to lawyers. People around the world leaders around the world already respect Kamala. I think what the Democratic Party has done has doomed democracy right now, because there is no way in history and precedent that changing the Democratic nominee candidate at this point, there is a win for us, and there is not a win. Herbert Hoover tried to do that when they said that Johnson divided the country after signing the Civil Rights Act. We lost then. There was one other race I can't think of off the top of my head right now.
Hold on.
That happened.
I have like a really full backstage.
Okay.
So your vote would be for Kamala
Mm-hmm.
as to take the
Yeah. I'm afraid I'm getting my passports ready. I already know I got a pit bull mix. I already know what provinces in Canada he can't go.
Okay. Thank you, Corey.
I'm out.
Thank you, Corey. I appreciate you coming on.
I'm serious, Mims.
No. I have like a really full backstage, so I got to keep it short so we can get everybody in. But thank you so much. I appreciate you as always.
All right, love you.
Thanks. Andrea.
Hi, ma'ams.
Hello.
I appreciate you and your commentary and you covering this like as quickly as you could. Here's my thing. I'm gonna be short and sweet because I'm about to get ready to go to work. But when I just seen this, I first seen it when I got your notification. I'm like, wait, what? And then I had to go back and I'm like, so I called my mom and my dad, who both watch CNN, MSNBC, you know, all those political channels and stuff like that. Here's where it scares me. As a Black woman of 41 years old and having 4 boys, it scares me that now I don't know the other people that could have been running. I don't really know them. I do research people, but it's really most are locally to vote for it. Now I don't know where we go for him from here. Everyone's saying Kamala. I get it. I love Kamala. But we didn't see Kamala or hear from her for at least 2 years of this presidency and really see her doing the things that I feel like a VP should do. Now, do I think that she could be a good candidate for this position? Possibly. Would I like for her running mate to be another Black woman? Of course. However, let's be real. We're going with the stunts and tricks of Donald J. Trump. And the things that I feel like happened as of recent with everything that just happened, I think that I knew something like big was about to happen after this. Because I was like, this is all for stunts and shows. Like, come on. You know, but for me, I feel like I'm worried, as Corey said before me, that, you know, we have a man that's not here for reproduction rights of women and things like that. I don't know who to vote for. It just makes me worried. It makes me scared for my children who are 22, 18, 16, and 14, all Black young men. So it makes me worry. I don't know what to expect. I don't want to take up too much time. I know you have a full back room. I appreciate you covering this, but it has me worried because I don't know who to vote for and who we're going to get next as the main candidate for the Democrats. So thank you, and I appreciate you.
Thank you for coming up. I appreciate you, Andrea.
No problem.
CL, you're up.
Yo, what's up, Mims?
How's it
Listen, everything's good. Yo, Kamala, I would definitely vote for her. Legally, they cannot transfer that $250 million to another person. The only person that can touch it is Kamala Harris. That's a lot of money for campaigning and moving her up in the party. Personally, I think she would destroy Donald Trump in a debate because she is a prosecutor and she's won a lot of cases. And I also feel like the media really did Biden dirty, for real. I mean, and as well as those 19 Democrats in the House or whatever, like, they never should have called for him to step down. Nancy Pelosi throwing shots and like hiding her hands or whatever, like, he was just done wrong. Like, Trump is evil. I'm sorry, I just feel that way. And I feel like Kamala can do the job. And I think everybody needs to get behind the fact that irregardless of who is chosen to lead the Democratic nomination for president at the DNC, everybody needs to vote Democrat because Project 2025 is a real thing and he is going to run on it. Trust and believe me when I tell you that. Thank you.
I will say this. The media gave it to Biden. They gave it to Biden. Every misstep, every mispronounced word, he got it. If he stumbled on something that he said, he got it. I can remember the only place I really saw that video of Trump sleeping at the RNC was on the Neighborhood Talk.
Yeah, well, he also fell asleep during his trial in New York.
Hold on 1 second. I want to say this much. Although Biden is older, it's not by that much.
No, it's not.
Trump and Biden could have technically gone to high school together.
Exactly.
So this is a lot, but thank you so much for coming up, Sia. I appreciate you.
No problem.
Have a good one. I hope I pronounced your name right. Ziandria.
Hi, ma'am. How you doing?
Hello.
So I'm 25, and this is going to be the second election I vote in. I'll be honest. My first election I could vote in, I wasn't even paying attention to politics, but now I am. With Biden, I will say it's kind of like on both sides of it. I can see him stepping down and giving Kamala a chance, but honestly, I don't think anybody's going to really want to vote for Kamala. And I say that because I know we don't see a lot of her and she's doing things behind the scenes, but like I said, we don't see a lot of her. I think maybe if she would have been more out there in the limelight, people would have been comfortable voting for her. But also, it's like November is like right around the corner. So who are y'all going to introduce to us to make us trust these next few months in order to vote for them? You know what I mean?
So did you actually vote in the first election that you were able to?
Yes, I voted in 2020. I voted for Biden.
Are you voting in your local elections?
So locally, no, I really don't pay attention to the local elections.
I hate to tell people, I don't try to tell people what to do, but it's very important that you not only vote presidential. I know presidential gets a lot more media attention, but local elections really provide for you in the space that you are in. It's super important. And, at 25, I'm just so fearful for you younger people, because y'all then came up with a lot.
Yeah.
I'm having anxiety about this. You guys went through the pandemic. You guys are having to go through training about active shooters in schools. You guys have so much more stuff than it wasn't even a thought at that age. I'm fearful for what's next. And it's so divisive and divided. I just don't see us moving back to a space where there's civility. I don't see us moving back to a space where there's going to be bipartisan voting. I wasn't joking when I said the only time I've heard anything bipartisan was about TikTok. That's it.
And to go back off of that too, with the whole TikTok ban,
Oh no, we can't really get into that.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
I do have a full backstage.
Okay, thank you so much for letting me talk. I'll be in the chat. Thank you, ma'am.
No, and definitely keep voting and talk to other people your age about how important it is, and vote in your local elections and do your research. You got to do what's best for you, because everything ain't for everybody, and I'll just leave it.
No, I see you. Thank you so much. You have a good live.
Thanks. Brittany, you're up.
Hey, Mims.
Hello.
So I'm kind of on the same wavelength as the last person you just had up. I'm 31. I'll be 32 this year, and I also don't vote like in my local or state. Yeah, I don't. I do make it a point to make sure that I do vote for the presidents, like when it's time to do that. But I'm really kind of like disheartened, honestly. I was on my phone, like scrolling through Instagram, and I saw it, like the Shade Room had posted it, and then I saw that you were going live about it, and I'm just like, oh my God, like, what are we gonna do? Like, they didn't want a woman to be president when Hillary was running. So like, I just kind of feel like they're not gonna want a Black woman to run either.
Would you be comfortable voting for her?
I will, but it's like I don't even know who the other options are to even go against her. Like, we never hear about the people that run independently. We never hear about anything else other than Republican and Democrat.
this two-party system that I think has to go.
Yeah.
So at 31, have you been voting since you were able to vote?
Yes, I have.
I do think that the Democratic Party probably kind of saw this coming. And I do think that there have been behind closed doors conversations on whether, everybody's going to back Kamala or not, and who her potential running mates are. I'm pretty sure there's a scramble, but, good luck to us all. I saw somebody say other kids live through other things. They don't think that what the kids of today are going through are any worse than, and yes, kids of the 80s did go through the crack epidemic, but I feel like kids today have access to a lot more. Kids today are growing up in the age of social media and the internet, and they can put their hands on so much more than even I could as a kid. People today, they have to grow up much faster. I don't feel like kids are really allowed to be kids. Not to say that the kids who went through the 80s or, the kids who, separate but equal, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying from my age, I'm fearful of the kids who are coming up in present day. But thank you so much, Brittany, for coming up. I appreciate you. And you're more than welcome to come up anytime.
Thanks, Mims.
Michelle, you're up. Michelle? Is this Michelle Obama? Michelle, you're on mute. Michelle, I'm gonna pull you down, but I'll keep you up. So maybe you can come up a little bit later. But right now you're on mute, so if you are speaking, we can't hear you. NK, what's up?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I really feel like everybody is missing what happened to the democracy and how we got to this place. I always say that this was a completely self-inflicted wound by the Democratic Party. They basically canceled all the primaries. They pushed everybody that wanted to challenge Joe Biden out of the primary. RFK had to go independent. They wouldn't let him challenge him in the Democratic primary. Cornel West tried to run. They pushed him out. He had to end up at the Green Party to get on the ballots. I think the only one that didn't care and kept pushing and kind of holding the Democratic Party establishment to task was Marianne Williamson. And so they wouldn't let him come to any of the debates. They wouldn't let anybody primary him. And then here we are. And I feel like people are just really giving these people a pass. And, everybody seems really sad. This was a completely self-inflicted wound. Like the Democratic Party completely disenfranchised their voters. And they knew that he was bad. And they hid him from the public. He didn't do the kind of press conferences that you would expect a president to do with the number that you would expect him to do it at. And they ended up moving up the debates because somebody in the background wanted the American people to see what was really going on because they were shielding him so much. And this is where we are. And so I'm just telling people that you should demand better from the party that you choose to, represent you. It's unacceptable.
I hope that we have moved past this stance on a woman potentially being president. At what point do you say you're informed and you are going for the best candidate if simply based on a woman's sex takes her out of the race? That's crazy to me. Shouldn't it be the best candidate for your party? And if that candidate is a woman, that candidate is a woman? Do you have any thoughts on that?
100%. But it wasn't, they wouldn't let any candidate. That's my thing. Mm-hmm. They can't even say that Joe Biden was the best candidate because they wouldn't let anybody primary him. And then all of the other people that wanted to primary him, Gavin Newsom, Gretchen Whitmire, J.B. Pritzker, because they understand, they bow down to the establishment. And the establishment said, we're sticking with Joe. And then here we are, however many months later. I mean, this is not democracy. And I don't agree that people won't vote for Kamala. I mean, there's some people that aren't going to vote, but there's some people that probably aren't going to vote for Democratic regardless. I don't know, and I feel like I don't even know that Kamala is the right, person because, I don't know if they're going to anoint her at the Democratic convention or if they're going to have a broker convention, which would be contested, which would be another big mess.
Not a no.
So
I clocked that.
I mean, this is not democracy. People should have had a chance to really vote and have like their realist elections during the primary process. Obviously, that ship has sailed. And so anointing is just another way of disenfranchising voters. And so I feel like, I think somebody mentioned about the money. The money is not an issue. They can put the money to a super PAC, and that super PAC can buy as many, commercials as $200 and something million will buy. So that's not the issue. The issue is that they knew better. They chose 4 people, and then now they're dealing with the consequences of their choosing for people, but they're still trying to choose somebody else. And that's just not the process that we should be okay with. And people should really have a lot to say to their party about that.
All right. Well, thank you so much, NK. I'm not a political channel, but because of my anxiety, right? But I'm thinking maybe I should do something where I have, people who I know who are connected in politics come up and talk. Is that something you guys would want to see? People who are...
I would be open to it. I just want to see people that are going to tell the truth. Like, that's the problem that I'm having with this. I feel like the media, doesn't really tell the truth. I feel like when the Democrats were like, not pushing everybody out of the party, RFK Jr. really wanted to primary Biden as a Democrat. They wouldn't allow it. And nobody said anything. Everybody just stepped in line. And so if we're going to have people to talk about it, I don't want to hear talking points. I want to hear an actual conversation, a real discussion.
Okay, that's fair. Let me talk to my therapist. But see, I absorb so much because I do watch. It's a lot to, even host these type of conversations because of the amount of hate that I get. It's easy enough to say, don't let it affect you. But my DMs blew up. And
I'm with you. I have a lot of opinions, and I won't do a YouTube channel because I don't think I can handle.
It was a lot.
Other.
And it was I won't even get into it. Thank you so much for coming up, NK. I appreciate you. If I do something else, please come up. Feel free to, share your thoughts.
Have a good day. Thanks.
Rena, you're up.
Hello, ma'am. How are you doing today?
I was fine. This is where we're at. What's up?
I can't get behind Kamala. Like the people before.
Who would you like? If you don't want Kamala, who would you like to see?
Oh, you probably not gonna like my answer, and I don't want to make anybody mad. I would vote Republican before I vote for Kamala. As far as the others, I think we're a little bit late in the race on that.
Kamala. Hold on, really, really quickly. So you identify as Democrat?
Yes, my parents were Democrats. I thought that was all I could be. I'm being real honest with you. But here in the last couple of years, I think our country now is in a really bad shape. Homelessness is up, unemployment is up, everything is up, and we did that as Democrats. Biden did that, I think he tried to stay in the race for a long time because he wanted to keep his family out of jail, was his main motive. Hold
on, really, really, really quick, because you're saying some things. So you identify as a Democrat.
Yes, sir.
But you're saying
I do.
Hold on.
Okay.
But you're saying that you would want to run. You might switch to Republican if Kamala gets the ticket.
Most definitely.
Hold on, Rena.
Okay.
My question is why? Specifically, would you leave the Democratic Party if Kamala was the candidate?
It's just something I think when they first brought her out, they kind of appeased to the African American community. They came out, she wore a Converse. I haven't seen her since she's got in office. I don't hear her. I haven't seen her in a pair of Converse. To me, it was just kind of fraud. It was just something about that I didn't like. I put that behind, and then the way Biden has ran it and the way our country is now, we're not taking care of our own people. I get that, Trump, he come off as the racist, but in my opinion, Trump hasn't been more of a racist than anybody else has been in this society. He kind of sheds a light on everything that was going on, and I think he's a businessman. He would.
Hold on, Rena. Hold on. So, so it's specifically about Kamala. You don't think that she should be the candidate because she wasn't upfront enough. One point that you made.
Yes.
One point that you made was that the unemployment rate is up. So these are the actual stats. I have them on the screen. I don't know if you can see, but I'll show you that the unemployment rate went up 2020, and then it's not up. It's down. It's down to 4.1%. So that rate,
what about homelessness?
Hold on one second. That rate
went
up, and has steeply gone down. So
very interesting.
That is
because I don't see that in the people around me. I'm not feeling that. I'm being honest with you, and that too with homelessness, the interest rate, everything is. But maybe that's so. If that's what they say on those charts, okay, okay.
Yeah, I just I love to hear what everybody has to say. So I don't specifically know about homeless rates, but what it sounds like to me is you're basing it on what you see in your own community, not as a nation as a whole.
Yes.
What would you think the president would do specifically for your community? Fix that. Because to me, that sounds like it would probably be more like local.
One thing about it is I don't have anything against, other countries. I think there's a lot of money put other places that we could have used it here at home. We've allowed a lot of people to come in, some good, some bad. They assume that they're going to be admirable citizens. Some of them are criminals that we hear. And I just think that was a mistake. I think that we should have took care of home first. You got to take care of your house to be able to build upon others. And I think that the president can do that. I mean, local can't really do that.
Rena, can I ask you one question?
Sure.
So are you currently employed?
Yes, I am. I am employed. I was in Florida for about 12 years and just moved back home to Texas. But financially, I was in a much better place in 2020 and 2021. Just financially overall. Coming back home to Texas, I was thinking, the price of living will be better. But in reality, we've had so much go on. We've had so many people come in from California and New York, and now it's making it astronomical even here. So I just feel like there's a push out. Pretty soon there will be no. I'm sorry,
Rena. Do you think? And we're just having an open conversation. Like I said, I'm not like necessarily a political channel. Do you think that maybe things at your job and jobs around the country had a steep decline and change because everything changed in 2020? In 2020, for the first time in my adult life, I saw people without work. I saw companies having to conform to what life after and during a pandemic looked like.
Right.
So, when I think about those challenges that politicians and companies had to make, it's crazy to me.
Right.
So, I mean, and again, this is just a conversation. I'm not trying to change your opinion, but specifically, if you saw a change in your job, your career, and people's career after 2021 and so forth, could it be because of the pandemic and not necessarily because of the government? Just a question.
I think that's kind of linked in together. It was the government that forced a lot of us to take certain things. It was the government, our job, the way they treated us at that time, the way they made it seem like it's still here, but you're not here. People still get it, but nobody's dying. Like I think there was something behind that too.
So now you're talking about the shot.
The who? Right. There was a lot of things. I do agree with you on that. But who did that? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I pretty soon, I just think there'll be an elimination of the middle class. There is no, it's going to be eliminated. If you're not in a certain place, you won't make it here. And if you don't own your home, you're homeless. It's getting that bad. Yeah. Okay. And I think that people are just kind of, but just my opinion. I mean, I guess we'll see how it goes, and I pray that everything happens as it should, and we'll be okay.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming up, Rena.
Thank you so much. I love your show.
Thanks.
Take care.
Ursula, you're up.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, I just want to reiterate how disappointed I am with the lack of introspection from the Democratic Party and from Joe Biden himself for not dropping out way earlier. You played something earlier with the guy saying that they wanted Biden to take his time and make the decision for himself. That's totally irresponsible. If they was going to do all that and said that they was going to put the hammer down eventually, they should have did that a year ago. We already seen that Biden, when he became president, when he did his, when he did his acceptance speech and everything, you kind of already seen that, he wasn't going to make it another 4 years. Like he already kind of was slowing down, and we was just like, yeah, anybody but Trump. So for him to run again, and he's clearly had a cognitive decline since since he got elected. To not have seen that within himself, or for the party have not to see that they work with him on a daily basis, so they knew that he wasn't going to be able to push through. So I don't even know why they didn't do primaries. It's just pretty much discombobulated. And then to do this in the 9th hour. How many months we have left? We could have took this time to know somebody, to get familiar with their policies, to really rally behind them, somebody who's energetic, somebody who, that clearly states their policies.
Whoever gets this ticket is going to have an uphill battle, but I don't think that it can't be done. I think that this is a unique situation. And I feel like that gives whoever is going to get this ticket the ability to speak constantly to the people that they want for them. I mean, I'm an optimistic person. I've been very upfront about, my issues with anxiety and politics and things of that nature. And I try my best to be as fair to everybody. I do. But if I were to look at this from a more positive approach, if he were not able to actually even complete, a debate where most Democratic people felt comfortable with, then maybe the next person will come in and be dynamic.
Yeah, it's gonna have to be a completely enthusiastic, way younger, somebody that'll knock the Democratic voters off their feet and be like, yes, finally, because this is a huge for me, it's a huge letdown to do this at this time. I was gonna vote for Biden, as a Democrat, because I vote for a frog over Trump. So, but to do this at the 9th hour, is crazy. I would vote for Kamala. I think she could do the job. But like we saw with Hillary, she got the popular vote, but she just didn't push through. And there was a lot of stuff about gender, and they made that whole thing about the emails. Nobody really cared about that, but they just used that as a point of contention to not vote for a female. And I just know that if they put Kamala on there, then the point of contention with Kamala is going to be 1, she's a female, and then 2, that she's Black, and that's going to create a whole nother level of distraction that we can't afford at this last point in time to get over. But I mean, you never know. People might come out of the woodworks or something like that, but it's just hard. I just wish they wouldn't have done this so late.
The more that I sat and I listened to everybody, I really do feel like Well, Mims, you just said like a week ago that 78 and 81 is crazy. And I think Pelosi retired at what, like 84, 83?
Something like that.
I mean,
but she seemed competent though.
For optimistic approach, I do think that total power corrupts. Sorry. And I feel like sometimes people hold on to power because of the benefit of being in power and you're accustomed to being in power. I do think that there needs to be some fresh faces with fresh ideas. Like even when I was just talking to Rena, as I was talking to her, I was thinking more and more like, shit, we have like a complete different society after 2020. Everything has changed after 2020. So, you know, for the Democratic Party, I do feel as though you can get a new Democratic star to come in, and they're going to need to speak to the people. They're going to need to be competent. They're going to need to have absolutely no fear and hit that ticket hard. But thank you so much, Ursula. I appreciate you. Did you draw this photo?
No, this was something off the internet.
Oh, okay. All right. Have a good one.
All right, you too.
Bugs Girl. Did I say that right?
Ma'am.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good.
That's good. So I feel that this thing with Kamala Harris running for possible president is going to be bad. First dates in the middle of the campaigning trail.
Your phone is going in and out. So all I heard was campaign trail.
Was general attorney. So her history, from what I know, is a bit shaky. So I don't feel confident with voting for her. However, I'm not going to say I'm a fan of Trump either. But I wish that Michelle Obama or even Hillary Clinton would jump back in. Hell, I'll even take Alexandria Ocasio, if that's her name. She's more for the people. She's more hands-on, and she's aware of what everybody's needs are. She's not going to be just for like one particular sector. She wants everything fair across the board. But I just feel heartbroken that they bullied Biden out of office because he stood by their side, and I don't feel like they're having his back 100%. I feel like there's an underlying agenda of some sorts, but I can't really pin it. I'm still reading the Project 2025 document, but I just don't have a good feeling about this.
You guys can put in the chat because are you for or against Project 2025? Or you can even put in the chat, are you even familiar with it? Like maybe you've just heard the term and don't technically know. Do we need to have people come up and kind of explain conceptually what it is? Let me know. I feel like this is y'all's channel, which is why I try my best to be fair. But I'm open to suggestion and input. But thank you so much, Books. I appreciate you. I see the backstage is full.
Thank you.
So the last people up are going to be the last people up. Thank you so much, Boogs.
Nice talking to you, Mims. Great channel.
Thank you. Tracy, you're up. Tracy, you're muted. It says device not connected, Tracy, so it took you off for some reason. Brown Sugar, you're up. Oh, I'm sorry, Brown, no sugar. My bad.
Hey, Mims, first of all,
hello.
Time up, but the situation is concerning to say the least. I don't know where this country is headed, to be honest. I feel like they wanted to go into some type of dictatorship or socialism or whatever democracy, we haven't been a democracy for a long time, if y'all want to be honest. For real, for real. I feel like the Electoral College, they pick who they want as president. Really, the public vote is something to entertain us. That's just how I feel. With him dropping out and Kamala stepping in his place, it's too many ignorant people in this country that aren't going to be for a woman, let alone a woman of color. And that's very unfortunate, but it is what it is. But like I read in one of the comments, I would vote for a dog before I vote for Trump. And it's just really what it is. All he does is incite racism, and he's very problematic. He has been long before he decided to get into politics. I mean, what other person y'all know say grab him by the you know what, and it's just okay. Like, this man has done so many things that is crazy. But I'm gonna continue to vote Democratic regardless, and hopefully a lot of other people follow suit, because we need for this country to head in a different direction than what it's heading now. I'm fearful. I don't know what the solution is right now, but hopefully we can find one before he tiptoes his way back into the office.
All right, well, thank you.
Oh, I just wanted to say one more thing. I feel like a lot of people are blaming Joe for where the economy is, but they keep overlooking that Trump gave us all that free money when he was in office, which was good at the time, right? But then he didn't tell us the consequences of giving out all that free money and where it was going to lead the economy. So actually, Biden has been, and his team have been working to offset that. And I think they have a little bit, but the blame is not on them. It's on Trump, because he was giving out stimulus after stimulus after stimulus, but he didn't tell us, hey, this is what's going to happen after we give y'all all this free money. He didn't say that. But I appreciate just for venting and getting this off my chest, because a lot of people don't even want to talk about politics that I know. So this is refreshing. Thank you.
All right, no problem. Thank you, Brown Sugar, for coming up. You're more than welcome anytime.
No.
I didn't hear you. What'd you say?
No sugar.
Oh, sorry. Brown, no sugar. My bad. I'm sorry.
All right, yo.
Okay. So one thing that does scare me, because I've talked to you guys about, there needs to be some bipartisan approach to politics. I was on the phone with one of the attorneys, and they told me that if Trump were to be elected, 2 of the sitting Supreme Court justices were going to retire. If the Supreme Court, which I think should be as impartial and balanced as possible, becomes a 7 Republican, 2 Democrat, if it becomes 7 Republicans and 2 Democrats, what does that mean for the country? Does that mean that every Republican agenda gets pushed through? Is that technically, and this is a question for Democrats and Republicans, is that technically what the country needs to move to a bipartisan approach? Something to think about. I'm going to do a little bit more research about that. So I was trying to research, was there ever a time in history where there were all Democratic or 8 or 7 of a particular party on the Supreme Court. That worries me. And even if you are a Republican, if it were the other way, if it were 7 Democratic Supreme Court justices, 8 Democratic Supreme Court justices, or 9 Democratic Supreme Court justices, would that worry you? Just a thought. Just a thought. We got a few more people, and then I gotta head out, guys. The Times.
Hello. Are you able? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, cool. So I'm just baffled, honestly, by a lot of kind of what people are saying on here in regard to their thoughts and opinions about voting. It's crazy to me, especially being that I'm from the younger generation, to know
Wait.
that a lot.
Hold on 1 second. Were you talking to me, Manny, or are you talking to somebody in the chat? Let me know. I'm sorry, what were you saying?
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, I'm from the younger generation. So it's really baffling to a lot of us to hear the older people say the things that they say in regard to how they want to vote and how they aim to vote, not just based off of research, but typically from what I understand is what he has done for them in the past, like giving stimulus or money. That's what I've heard a lot of people say, like, you know, he gave me this, so I'm going to vote for him because of that, or, you know, just how the economy is now. It's better than what it was under him, first of all. But what's even more crazy is the fact that I feel like there is no real forethought about our futures and what it'll look like for us. It's more so what's going to happen now. So I'm just saying, like, if we do this and he does enact Project 2025, do they really think about how that affects us and what that does for us, especially Black youth, like effectively kind of like taking away our voice, taking away our ability to pretty much make a difference, including DEI. If that goes away, what that does for us, giving us less opportunity than, you know, what it has done, because it was essentially established in 1960. And from 1960, it has done a whole lot for us. But
Hold on a second. So Manny Castillo said that they were talking to me, but you can't even spell idiot. So I don't think you were talking to me. Did you think that YouTube would stop you from saying idiot? So you purposely misspelled it? I'm trying to give you an out because you're clearly not that swift. So thank you for being here, Manny Castillo. I'm sorry, continue.
Yeah, and I mean, just even think about all the things that Biden has done in the administration about, you know, forgiving student loans. I mean, a lot of people want that to be done now, but effectively it's not going to be as easy as people think. They believe that Biden has the authority and right to essentially give out as much money as he wants to, but they don't realize that it's the Congress that typically enacts a lot of these policies that we do see in regard to the money that is divvied out. And I'm just trying to understand effectively, what are other people's thoughts about how we feel? Like, I don't feel there is any inclusion of our generation, especially the ones that are now able to vote.
What's your generation, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm actually a part of Gen Z.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're fearful that nobody is speaking for your specific generation?
In a way, it doesn't feel like it's being spoken in regard to us. It doesn't feel like it's about us. It feels like it's more so about what he can do for me. You know what I mean? Like what Trump can do for me.
Oh, you feel like Trump is speaking more to you? Is that what you're saying?
I feel like older people are more so concerned of what he can do for them in regard to, can he help us get more jobs? Can he help us make more money? Mm-hmm. Essentially, that's pretty much what it feels like when we all know that, you know,
the Times.
That's not what the case was.
Do you want older people to be more concerned about the next generation or themselves?
I want them to be more concerned about the next generation because essentially, especially if you're a parent, first and foremost, if you're a parent and you care about what your child's future looks like, I feel like the forethought should be specifically on us. But especially if he hasn't done anything for you.
I'm
That's
sorry.
first and foremost.
I was about to say Manny. You want older people to be more concerned about things that would impact you directly, but is your generation voting? Shouldn't your generation be more concerned about what will impact them directly? Shouldn't that be?
But see, that's the thing. I feel like no one is truly hearing that we are. There are so many of us young people who are actually saying we want to vote, we want to be included, we want to be a part of the process. But if you're not giving us the real opportunity to voice that we want to be a part of it, or overlooking that we're saying it, then how can we truly be heard? It's so many of us that say it. It's so many of us that really care.
Okay. And I don't know the older people that are around you, but think about this. If I'm an older person on a fixed income and I hear rumblings that by the time that I'm able to retire, there may not be social security, which is what I plan to take me through my retirement. Don't you think they should be laser focused on that?
Yeah, that's not the point. I'm saying in regard to the people who want to vote for Trump.
Okay.
I'm saying because of his policies, because of what they think he can do for them, a lot of their opinion and thought is focused on that. And I'm just saying, like, a lot of what he's doing is essentially not affecting these people in any way.
I will say this, when I remember
in regard to, more money and whatever, because it's not going to happen. It is not.
I do think that there are a lot of people who kind of follow behind like celebrity when they make their decisions politically. And I can remember being amazed when I sat and listened to Kanye talk and how he specifically said that he never got a tax refund at his income level. In the history of Kanye being famous and making all these hit songs, he never got a tax refund until he was under Trump, which Kanye is definitely in the top 0.1% of earners. So when I listened to Kanye West's, I don't know what you want to call them, followers who, because some people do vote based on who their favorite celebrity likes and things like that. I was thinking when Kanye is saying that as a top 0.1% earner, he's finally getting a rebate, a tax refund, that technically doesn't apply to you. That's why I always say it doesn't make sense to listen to a celebrity. You have to go and do your own research. You have to vote for what's in your own best interest. And a person who's making $50,000 is not the same as a person who's making $50 million a quarter or whatever kind of crazy money Kanye used to make. And that's not me telling people who to vote for. It's just one of those things that kind of like gets in my craw when I hear people quote a celebrity as a reason that they're voting a certain way.
Okay, I get that. I'm just a little confused as
Riel says, I'm voting for Kanye West at this point.
I'm a little confused as to kind of like the connection in regard to what I'm saying versus that point. Okay, because I'm just saying, like, are you saying that I'm saying that I'm
no, it was
based off a celebrity?
No, not you at all. It was just a tangent. I'm still in the space of, I know what this means with Biden out. We're about to, the media and everything is about to be geared election, and it's just kind of playing on my anxiety. But thank you so much. You sound very informed.
All right.
And
next time
you're more than welcome.
Right.
That's what it's about. Thanks for coming up. Ernest Smith in philosophy, and then Ray.
Hello, how you doing? I love your show.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
Love the intro and everything. Yeah, we just got some uninformed people in this country.
Okay.
They're not listening, not paying attention. And if Project 2025 happens, there will be a lot of deportations. They're not playing. People better listen. These folks aren't playing. Vote blue. I don't care if they put a slug.
Are you talking about deportations as in illegal
immigrants, migrants, anyone that is not from this country and has just got into this country, or if even been here, they won't care. Listen, people, vote blue. They don't care. The class people, the ones that's rich, they want the tax breaks. Don't listen to these foolish celebrities. That's all they want out of Trump. Trump does not care about you. He thinks you're beneath him. I'm sorry, but this is like I said, make it make sense.
To speak specifically about Biden now no longer being being on the ticket, who do you feel is a good replacement for him?
Gavin Newsom, if he can get into all 50 states. He's got to get on the ballot in all 50 states. He's charismatic, knows what he's talking about, and that's what people like, showmanship.
No, Akira, I was responding to somebody in the chat.
Oh, excuse me.
No, not you, Ernest. I'm a one-man show, so I have to do both.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you for coming up, Ernest. And you're more than welcome anytime.
Thank you. Have a good day, sir.
You too. In philosophy?
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
Hi, so one, thank you for this because this is really important and love your show.
Oh, I appreciate
Just a couple of things, right? There seems to be a lot of misinformation with how economically people were doing under the Trump administration, right? So one, that carryover was also from Obama because the economy.
Hold on, really quickly, because I have to, now that we've heard, because we have to kind of keep it specific to the news.
Mhm.
So after you heard about Biden dropping out, where are you at with that? Are you comfortable because you feel like there's going to be fresh blood, or are you worried?
That's a great question. So I'm not necessarily, I'd be lying if I said I was comfortable. I am a very avid follower of politics, like our politics as well as internationally, right? I think there's a lot that the party, I'm a Democrat, so there's a lot that the party has to do in order to make a lot of people comfortable. I think Kamala could step up to the plate. However, I think her running mate would have to be business friendly. They would have to take somebody who, to someone else's point, be very charismatic and really change the tone to make it more of an aspirational ticket, the way that Obama was, versus kind of more of the managerial ticket, which is what Joe was, if we want to be honest, right? So that's kind of where I'm at. I think it's going to be really important the next coming weeks, what kind of messaging and tone that's set, and then also what that ticket looks like, as well as what they're conveying to the public for why they should be excited and motivated to vote for them, not because they're voting against Trump. I think we have done a poor job as Democrats of trying to have people vote like against Trump versus being excited for the person that they want to vote for.
So you feel like the messaging is off for sure?
Definitely. I think the messaging is off, but I think that's something that can be corrected, right? Like that just takes
It's
clearly.
gonna have to be expeditious.
Yeah, no, it does. It does, but I think at this point we've had enough of the poor messaging that has happened so far. And I think they have to take corrective action, to your point, as soon as possible, right? To quell people's fears and anxieties, because I'm Black and Donald Trump is a direct threat to Black people. One, empowering somebody like Edward Blum to use the Supreme Court to strike down affirmative action, which is education and work is the vehicle for us to change our economic situations. And those Trump-appointed Supreme Court justices allowed for that, one. Two, you have Edward Blum again attacking organizations like the Fearless Fund that give micro grants to Black women, right? Business is another way that you create generational wealth, and they're trying to attack that. So a lot of these people that believe a $1,400 or $2,400 check that they received one time somehow changed their economic situation, when these people are trying to privatize education, they're trying to make sure that from education, like, you are not able to go to the best schools possible, right? And then on top of that, really trying to dismantle like the ability to create generational wealth. So as Black people, I don't understand how you align yourself with somebody like a Trump or somebody that supports Trump, because they're not in alignment for your growth and success as a Black person in this country. And they want to take that away from you. They want to make sure that you stay in a permanent underclass and on the bottom. And I'm not even gonna get into how homophobic they are with like the trans issues and all of that, which if you're Black, you should care about all Black people, not just heterosexual Black people. But that's my thing, right? So to your point, I think there's a lot of work that has to be done, but it really, I don't understand this sentiment that a number of Black people have with voting for Trump or wanting to have him back in office and giving this like fairy tale that they were doing so much better because they were not.
All right, well, thank you. I definitely appreciate your input. Who would you think would be, are you going to vote for Kamala?
I will vote for Kamala, but as stated, I think if she's going to be at the top of the ticket, she needs a really strong VP.
Okay. Well, I definitely appreciate you in your, I'm just kind of overwhelmed right now. I'm not even going to lie. I didn't expect this. I didn't expect it, but you know, this is where we're at right now.
I get it. And I think everybody has the right to feel anxious. I think also anxiety is something that's there, but you can also use it to motivate you, to mobilize, to push for the kind of action and change that you want. And I would just encourage everybody to kind of take as much of that anxious energy and use it to be something productive. So,
do you think, I mean, I talked to my personal therapist. Do you think that it would be beneficial for everybody if I brought on a therapist to talk about anxiety during election years, especially with it being such a hot button issue? Would that be
I think you should. I think you should. I'm a big proponent of therapy. I think it has been instrumental in helping me manage being in a very racist society. But yeah, I think that would be helpful. And I think for them to kind of break down the intersection of why different people are anxious, right? Like, I'm a Black woman, so I have my own reasons for being anxious, but somebody that's Latino could have their own reasons for being anxious, and so forth and so on. So I think that would be helpful.
All right. Well, I appreciate you. I'll see if I can get into that. I mean, and that's not just for Democratic people, that's for Republican people. I'm sure I'm not the only person who is dealing with this right now. So thank you so much. In Philosophy, you're always welcome to come up on the channel.
Thanks so much. Bye.
Bye. And just like when there was the assassination attempt against Trump, in order for me to be a fair channel, what I try to do is provide a space for people to come up and speak. When Trump had his assassination attempt, I allowed Trump supporters to come up and say how they felt, because that really impacted them as he is their candidate. So that's me trying my best to be as fair as possible to everybody. I can hear you out. Doesn't mean that I agree with you. It just means that, you know, everybody has a voice and is allowed to speak, even if I don't necessarily agree with what they're saying. Ray, you're up.
Hi, Mims. I've been a long time viewer and I finally subscribed to your channel. How are you doing today?
I'm good. And yourself?
I'm good. So I'm worried, and it does give me anxiety, because the thing is this, like, I understand that a lot of Democrats that are up for re-election are scared that they're going to lose their seats due to some of mishandling by by Biden of certain things like the immigration issue that's going on, student loans, and also Sheila Jackson, may she rest in peace. She passed away, so her seat's up for re-election. So I mean, these are things that are factors into probably why he dropped out, and the pressure from these people that their voters are gonna blame all of this on them because of Biden. But we also have to remember too, like, our presidents are the ones that write the laws. They're not the ones that bring the laws forward. I'm sorry, but like, I know that growing up, they always told us that your local election matters a lot. So you have to vote locally, then you have to vote for your the state, and then you have to vote for who represents you. And it's not just voting for presidents. And the thing is this, like, I'm worried about who is going to be in Congress, who's going to be in the Senate, because these are people that are the ones that are pretty much writing, they're the ones that are bringing forth these laws. And I'm like really scared. And the whole thing with Project 2025, whatever that is, like, some of the stuff that I read, it really does disturb me in regards to women's rights. And also he wants to bring back stop and frisk. So you know that's going to target a lot of minorities, a lot of Black people. So like, people are not even discussing this. And honestly, I think that Kamala is kind of too soft to take on Trump. He needs somebody that will bring the same energy, but at a nice, like, you know, not dark, but like, bring the same. Go ahead.
What would you need to see from Kamala within the next few months for her to win your vote?
For Kamala, I would have liked to see her more out there. I know that she did a lot of work in the background, but I would have liked to see her more out there, and just more. The most I've seen with Kamala,
like forward facing. What would you need to see from her for her to win your vote now? Like, if she,
honestly, Kamala could not get my vote. Kamala's not going to get my vote because of the fact that I feel like Kamala is good for the future, but she's not good for right now. She's a good candidate for the future. She's not a good candidate for right now. The candidate that we need right now is somebody that knows what's going on, that experienced that what's going on, and can bring the same energy to Donald Trump. They don't even have to go dark.
Okay, so if Kamala does get the ticket, do you vote Trump or do you not vote at all?
I would vote Kamala.
So you would get your vote.
I would give her my vote, but I don't think she's the right candidate.
Okay, so that's what I was asking. Like, if she gets the ticket, will you vote for her? And
I would vote for her in a heartbeat. I would vote for whoever is running against him. It could have been a three-legged dog that would be running against him. I would vote for the three-legged dog.
Who would you like to see as her VP pick? What would make you feel more confident in her pick?
Gavin Newsom.
I don't want to get all in your business. Are you in California?
No, I'm not in California. But he knows the issues with what needs to be done in regards to immigration. I understand people are like, well, there's a lot of drug addicts and a lot of stuff that's going on in California. I'm sorry, but the drug addicts are everywhere.
I mean, yes, drug addicts are everywhere. And there's probably one in everybody's family.
I mean, I grew up in Massachusetts, and there's drug addicts in Cape Cod. There's drug addicts in like Boston. Like, it's just not as focused. There's not a big lens on it like there is in California. So that's the thing. Everybody's focused on what's happening in LA, but drug addicts and homelessness, it occurs in every state. Look at Washington, look at Seattle, look at New York City, look at Miami. Like, it happens everywhere.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming up, Ray. I appreciate you. And as always, if we do another one of these, well, you're welcome to come up.
Have a good day, Mims. Bye.
Thank you. Michelle, we'll try again because I know you've been waiting.
Thank you. Can you hear me now?
Oh, we can hear Michelle, y'all.
Hi, Mims. I was like, damn it, I missed my spot.
No, I told you I'd bring you back up. If you could,
Thank you. Thank you so much. And hello, everyone. I'm going to keep this really short and sweet. I am a registered Democratic voter. I have to say that I treat politics as it's my personal life. Sometimes we have to sit and just be still, right? It's a lot of distractions. This came as such a surprise to me. I did not want to see him drop out. I think that the Dems are so divided. They want Trump to win at this point. And if you have a divided house, we know that the house is going to crumble. So I think that this is horrific what's happening right now. However, I do think that people have to pay attention to, and I do agree with a few of the callers that was talking about misinformation. We have to pay attention to what is actually happening in our country, right? Pay attention to what is happening. You shouldn't really think like this, but this is how I think and have been thinking for a long time. I have to pick the lesser of the two evils. Who is going to do the worst damage to our country? And when I look at that, I have to say, Trump is a person who has all of these felonies. He wants to take us back to a place that we don't want to go, right? He wants to have a national ban for abortion. I'm a female. I don't want that. I don't want that for my daughter. He wants to get rid of the Department of Education. What does that mean to our public schools? What does that mean for Tap and Pell for college, right? He wants to do things that I don't agree with. Is it perfect on the Dem side? Absolutely not. However, I think that he would do more damage globally to everyone. And I just don't want to see that happen. I'm a Democrat, right? I have voted before Republican in my local area. Why? Because I thought that candidate at the time was going to do the better job. So it's not about our personal feelings. I think people are in their feelings too much. You have to really put all of that aside, sit still for a minute with yourself, and really think about what is good and what is going to be worse. That is how I look at it. Project 2025 is going to destroy us like we have never seen anything before. The young lady who was talking about, him bringing back stop and frisk. Imagine what he wants to do. He wants to give full immunity back to the police. So what is that going to do to Black people along with stop and frisk? This is going to be horrifying. I have a son and I am African American, and I worry about my son when he goes out because I don't trust the police anymore. So what is that going to do? We have a Supreme Court that is so corrupt, and they should be the most impartial in the world. We have too much going on. So people have to think, where do I want this to go? If the three blind mice at this point was going to run, I would vote for them. I am going to vote for VP Harris. I think that she is strong. I think that she can be a really strong candidate. A lot of work to do, but I think that she can take us over the finish line. People, again, I am so begging everyone right now, think about simple, like we teach our children, right? What's right and what's wrong. What is going to be worse for this country? And then you vote from there. Ask yourselves the question, because everyone's life is on the line. And the future, like the young man was saying, my children are only in their 20s. Their life is on the line. My grandkids, their lives are on the line. This is serious. Playtime is over. And we have to really think about what is going to be worse. Thank you again. And I just wanted to keep it short and sweet because I know a lot of people are waiting. So thank you again.
No, nobody's waiting anymore. I can't. I can't. I've reached my limit. Jay says, "Stop the fear mongering. The police are not our enemy." Jay, I would say this. No, the police are not our enemy. There have been instances where I told you guys I have been robbed. I don't think that all policemen get a fair rap. There are very good policemen, and there are people who are in the police department who put their life on the line every day to protect and serve. I don't ever want to come across as if I'm personally saying that the police are the problem, because they have protected me.
Yeah.
But as a Black man, I can tell you there has not been a time where I get stopped by the police and they don't ask me, "Is this your car?" That just happened maybe a month ago again. I got stopped by police. There was no reason for them to stop me, so I didn't even get a ticket. But the first thing they asked me was, "Is this your vehicle?" Okay. There was a time where two plainclothes police officers thought I was somebody else, and they came up on me, on my property with their guns drawn at me. This is something that I experienced personally. So I completely understand people should not vote I get that the messaging can be off with the whole fear mongering thing, but I can tell you as a Black man, I have worries. Things are subjective. And for me, I have had 2 police officers mistake me for somebody else with their guns drawn on me. I don't know how that could have turned out, but that's like my life. That's what I've been through. But I can also say that the police officers were there for me both times that I got robbed. I'm just saying, so sometimes we have to step outside of ourselves and think that certain things are subjective to the person and their personal experiences. So as a whole, no, you shouldn't vote necessarily out of fear. You need to make informed decisions. But I can't sit up here as a Black man and say that I know too many other people who I didn't even look like the guy that they were looking for, but their guns were pulled on me. If something would have happened to me, God forbid, and then they got immunity, I just wouldn't be here. So there are things that you have to look at. And that's when I say I really want people to have, I wish we could go back to the approach where everything was done for the betterment of all of us, the betterment of everybody. But things are so divisive and everybody is so polarizing that for me, it's scary, which is again why I don't like necessarily talking about politics, because it brings up my anxiety. So, and I don't like talking about those stories either, because it also gives me anxiety. I don't have the right answers, but what I do try to do is provide a space for everybody to give their opinions, talk about what they're excited about, talk about what they're nervous about. And maybe sometimes I get it wrong. I've had a few people in my DMs that I have to respond to that felt like I should have done some things differently as it applied to these type of conversations. But what I know how to do is be fair, or I try to be as fair to all parties involved. So thank you guys for being here. Thank you, Michelle, for coming up. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
And guys, I gotta go. I need a stiff drink at this point. This has been a hell of a turn of events for my Sunday afternoon. So see you guys tomorrow. Bye.